From the Oklahoma Newsroom, this is an OU Update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Jason Kersey. Jason, Wednesday signing day arrives, and we'll get to see who all inks with the Sooners, but an interesting commitment over the weekend, which we assume will hold come signing day. Erik Swenson, an offensive lineman, who his situation caused something of a stir last week. Fill us in.
Yeah, this is a kid who committed to Michigan when Brady Hoke was still the coach more than 2 years ago, and stayed committed. Made it was kind of made a big deal of up in that part of the country. He's from Illinois. That he stuck with his commitment despite the coaching change. He always wanted to be a Wolverine, and then earlier this month, he, according to Erik Swenson's side of the story, Jim Harbaugh decided that that he wasn't going to have that offer anymore. And wasn't going to be able to sign. And so it sort of created another conversation about the dark side of recruiting. And we see it play out a lot at different places. I think the SEC has that kind of a reputation. And now that Jim Harbaugh's at Michigan, that these sorts of things are happening. And they've kind of happened a couple of times here this month. But Erik Swenson was sort of the big one. And he was left with very few options. And then he took a visit to Norman last week, and sort of a little bit of a surprise, and got an offer and committed. You
talk about, as Swenson said, Michigan pulls the offer from him. This is a guy that's a 4-star. Take that for what it's worth. Seems like he could be a guy who, I don't know if he can compete right away for a starting job, but he's definitely seemingly a talented guy.
Well, OU needs depth on the offensive line. That's obvious. And Bill Bedenbaugh, people assume since he's been here for 3 years, been at Norman for 3 years, that he would have the depth built up. But the truth is, he inherited a very thin offensive line corps, and it's going to take some time to build that up. And he's in the process of doing that. That's why they signed 2 JUCO offensive linemen this year. That's why they signed a JUCO offensive lineman last year. And they've done it pretty much every year that he's been here. So yeah, definitely, he's an important addition.
Yeah, and we saw last year they obviously played a true freshman in Drew Samia. So who knows if Erik Swenson comes in and proves himself worthy, we could see him out there next year. Let's talk for a second, too, about the wide receiver position, because the Sooners got a flip on Sunday, that being Zach Farrar, a guy that was committed to Michigan, or I'm sorry, not Michigan State, I'm like thinking Michigan, committed to Mississippi State. He says he's going to be a Sooner. Looks like that's going to help this signing class as well. Well,
they need it, yeah, and that's another place where they're a little bit thin, and they've, that's part of the reason why Jay Norvell was let go, is because the receivers that he was bringing in weren't working out. They were getting kicked off the team. They were, quitting, and so it left them pretty thin there. And this year they lose Sterling Shepard and Deron Neal, so there are receptions to be had next year. There are definitely playing time to be had for these guys, and I think that this is a kid who could come in and play. There's some young guys ahead of him. I think of guys like Dahu Green, A.D. Miller, Dallas Todd. There are guys above him, but the fact that those guys haven't seen the field too much yet, leads me to believe that there's going to be an opportunity for him.
He's one of 2 projected wide receivers in this class, Adrian Hardy being the other. Lastly, Jason, as we look ahead to Wednesday and signing day, some guys that have OU on the radar, uncommitted to this point, what are you looking forward to on signing day? Anybody in particular you think might go the Sooners' way that you'll be watching with particular interest? Well,
there's a lot of guys that are going to announce on signing day that they're going to be interesting. The local guy from John Marshall, Tremonda Moore, is obviously a big one. Caleb Kelly, the 5-star linebacker who is without a doubt the biggest target remaining. He's not going to announce until 7:30 on signing day, which is 5.5 hours after Bob Stoops begins his press conference. So that means that there's going to be a lot of anxiety in Sooner Nation hours after Bob Stoops' press conference, because this is the guy everybody wants. This is the guy that coaches want. Nobody's going to know until 7:30 at night. So it's, that all of that's going to linger a little bit longer. So I'll definitely be interested in that.
They're going to have to leave the fax machine on overtime down there in Norman, apparently. All right, thanks, Jason. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.